Greetings and salutations, me family them, me people them. This now na boy picking DJ Little the Moses for Salon ENT. I wish you well, I greet you well. Today is Sunday the 19th of February 2023. Right, I am going to start a dialogue on a particular topic which I feel it's high time we talk about. But just for some disclaimers, the subject I'm about to talk about is not aimed at you personally. It's not aimed at any of your loved ones or your family. It's for us as a community to start to have a discussion, a constructive dialogue about it. So, if you follow me, yesterday, the 18th of February, I shared a text on my social media platforms, specifically on WhatsApp. Now, the conversation is based on the calendar month in the UK, which is the LGBTQIA month in the UK this February. And for those who may not know, LGBTQIA, the acronym is to signify gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, and asexual people collectively. So my conversation, my question that I asked to my broadcast list was, if your child or daughter, stroke daughter or son, or your family member age 16 to 21, came to you and confided in you that she is gay or lesbian, how will you react? That was my question. So I'll ask the question again. If your child, be they boy or girl, or your young family member, that could be your siblings, your cousin, your nephew, who is age 16 to 21, came home or came to you and confided in you that they, i.e. he, she, is gay or lesbian, how will you react? That was the question. The plan was to raise an awareness in our Afro-Caribbean communities, to have this discussion with our children, and as I said there, so that we can find ourselves in a position where we can start talking. How will you react? Better still, I said, we need to engage our children in conversation that we may be ignorant about. So, with all that said, this was shared in so many platforms. I have to say to you, the reactions that I've got has been mad, i.e. it's been very mixed. I've received, well, first, let me put it out there first. One of the group, I got kicked out immediately just for asking the question. I got kicked out of one of the forums on WhatsApp group. And then I've got people who personally sent me texts and said, I've always received your texts, DJ Little. I've always received your broadcast. Please do not ever send me such a text. I've also got people who came to me and said, I don't think this is the time for you to have such conversation, because we don't know where you're coming from with this. These are texts that came to my phone, I'm telling you. And also, I have to say, I've received further texts and some acknowledgements of thumbs up emoji, which people have said, wow, this is good, DJ Little. Great topic. I've even gone further to speaking to two sisters of mine. I won't name them. Yesterday I had a conversation with one of my older sisters, not by birth, but through family relation. And then today as well, I had a conversation with a younger sister, whom we had this conversation with to discuss this topic. Equally, I've had, like I said, mixed interest, mixed reviews from people. Now, just before I go further, as a declaration again, I am not going to speak about my own personal thoughts. My own opinions does not matter. My responsibility is to create a platform of which we as Afro-Caribbean communities, specifically my community, Sierra Leone, to start to create a platform to have such conversations. So I am not going to come out here and tell you what I think or which side do I, if I have a side, which side am I on? Am I for or against? No, it's not about me, not at all. It's about my responsibility as a community champion, community ambassador, as a media personnel to create a platform that we can start having such conversations. Let's go to the basics. I said your young child, could be a boy or girl, or your young relative come to you, confided in you, say this is who I am, or this is how I feel I am, or this is what I want to become, or this is what I have become. How will you react? It's the question. How will you react? This is what has caused a storm in the community because I shared that. I got kicked out of a WhatsApp group. I'm like, wow, this is great. I am striking the chord. Yes. So how will you react in such a way? First thing first, I want us to think about the education system in the UK today. Our children from preschool, age 4 years and above, these conversations are being heard. Children are being taught or explained to understand from the system. Remember this, it's not my opinion. From the system, from the establishment, that it is okay. And by the way, before I go further, for somebody not to become too critical again, I'm saying to you, this is my opinion. I'm putting it out there because it's already out there. Children as young as 4 years old are being taught in schools, in nurseries, in preschools, to say it's okay to have two mommies. It's okay to have two daddies. It's okay. Now, that may not be what you stand for, but your child is being told that in a school. So your child comes home as a 5-year-old saying, Mom, Dad, is it okay? I was told today, is it okay for my friend said it's okay, he's got two mommies, or she's got two daddies at home. There's no. How will you react? Are you going to say to that child? What are you going to say to that child? Are you going to be dismissive to the child? If you have a contrasting views about what the child has said, bearing in mind the child has been told in school or in a nursery or in a preschool, they've come home to ask you the question, are you going to kick them out? Get out of here, you can't talk about this. I don't want to talk about this. You don't know what you're talking. Is that how the kind of reaction you're going to put up? Or are you going to try to have a more educative conversation with your child if you have a difference of opinion? If you have the same, you are in the same school of thought of what the school or the place of education has told that child, how will you let them understand that it's okay for that to happen, for a child to have two mommies at home, or for a child to have two daddies at home. So how will you have that conversation? So I've started off with the youngest, around the 4 years old, to let's say the 4 to 9s. Now let's go for the 10 to 14 years old. Move to now with them, they saying it's okay. Again, the system is saying to them it's okay, not only for the two mommies to be at home or the two daddies to be at home, it is also okay for somebody who is of the same sex as you to like you. That's going to our 10-year-old, to our 14-year-old, okay, let's say 15-year-old. So you're taking from just getting into secondary school, because some children based on their age will enter into secondary school just at the tender age of, let's say, 11 to 16. Okay? So, and there they said it's okay for somebody of the same sex as you to like you, or to come to you and express their feelings about you. So your child, be they boy, girl, might come home and say, I have my friend and she has been telling me that they really like me, they care about me, they've even bought me gifts outside of school, they bought me some nice gifts outside of school. How will you react as a parent, carer, or somebody who's a family member that has been trusted by that child who has come to you to bring that question to you? How will you react? So these conversations are being told. Now that group of friends as well, between the age of 11 to 16 again, are now socializing. And sometimes they find themselves playing sports which are contact sports, which means they have to go into dressing rooms together. It could be an all-girl sport, a mixed sport, an all-boy sport. And then when they go into those dressing rooms together, one of the child or one of the children express an interest to your child and say, oh, you look nice. I like how you look. Oh, your body's buff, and that kind of thing. And your child may be a little bit uncomfortable with it, or maybe comfortable with it, but they've chosen to come to you to confide in you. How will you react? What will you say to your child, to your siblings, to your young family member? What will you say to them? Which position are you going to be in? Are you going to be dismissive? Are you going to say, okay, let's have a conversation? Or are you going to be in a state of shock? Let's move further to the conversation. What if it is your child that is expressing interest to people of the same sex? Your child, now they're not the ones being approached. Your child is being the person who is expressing an interest of somebody whom they identify as the same sex, that they like that person, they fancy that person, they want to be out with that person. How will you react? What if you as a parent have an inkling that your child, who is now age 17 to 21, who is at college, possible to university, possibly working if they've taken time out of school, have identified themselves as somebody who wants to be with someone of their own sex. And you as a parent, carer, older siblings, older relatives that child has come to, or you have a sense of inkling that your child may not like somebody of the opposite sex. how will you react? So, how will you react? What if your child who is 17 to 21 is constantly coming home with friends who are of the same sex and they are very close to, and those friends are staying beyond the hours which you tolerate for friends to be in your home, okay? And your child is bringing in friends at home where possible. Sometimes the friends will visit after what you call your own visiting time limitation. So my friend is coming to me at 8 o'clock in the evening. Hang on a minute, that's the time your friend should be going home, but they're coming in at 8 o'clock, and that friend is no longer leaving till about midnight. But you as a parent, carer, having an understanding or a feeling that there might be something peculiar that's going on, how will you react? What will you say to your child, sibling, loved one, nephew, niece, or whatever? How will you start the conversation? The reason why I am bringing this conversation up, this topic up, is for us to start to have this conversation. Some of us are now second generation, and we are now breeding the third generation British African born kids, or African British kids, or Caribbean British kids, or whatever. Where my responsibility lies is to make it known to you that these are not far-fetched ideas that are presented to you. These are reality. These are realistic day-to-day situations that are happening within our community. But what I have identified, what I am seeing in the community that I belong to, which is the Sierra Leone community that I know of, because now one or two of you might start jumping. You don't know anything about the Jamaicans. You don't know anything about East African people. You don't know anything. Okay, about Nigerian people or Ghanaian people. Okay, fine. Let me speak about my own community now. What I know of within my own community, these are things that are now manifesting in our community. But they're not new. They've been there. We have chosen not to discuss this as a community. We have chosen not to approach this as a community. We have chosen to play blind eyes as a community. We have chosen to use the word, God forbid, bad thing. That's what people will say in our community. We have chosen, my religion will never let my child be like that. That's what we are saying to ourselves in closed doors and when we come out. But what we are not saying, we're not connecting with our children. We are not listening to our children. We're not talking to our children. We're not seeing what our children are doing. We're not smelling properly where our children are going. So, if we choose as a community to play ignorance over this, because of the many reasons that I've highlighted earlier, i.e. religion, culture, God forbid, bad thing, and I don't want to talk about this, denial, burying your heads in sand, we are having a disconnect with our children. If you, as a parent stroke carer, you know your child better than me. It is not my place to be judgmental to your child or to you. it is my position to bring this conversation, this topic to you so that we can start to have dialogue. But if you as a parent is deliberately choosing, knowing that you are having a sense that your child may be liking somebody of the same sex, your child may be interested in people of both sexes, because that's also happening, and you choose to ignore all of this, then you are creating a problem for yourself. Because what will happen, your denial will also disconnect you and your children. Yes, you might say, fine, I don't want to know about my children. If they want to be that way, they will never be my child. I know you will say all of that. That's ignorance. That's lack of understanding. Irrespective of where you stand, what views you have, what beliefs you want to have in your head, that none of your children, no, not my child, not forever ever, I rather die first. We've had all of that. If you keep saying that loud in your head and your child is becoming that person, how will you start to have the conversation? So again, I'm here to provoke a conversation deliberately in our community. I want you to call me because I want to have this conversation with a panel of people. I want parents who have got their child who has already come out, so to speak, to them, and who are in support of that idea. I want parents who are totally rebellious and in denial about it. I want religious leaders to come forward. Let's talk about this. Be you Christian, Muslim, or whatever religion you belong to. I want you to come forward, or if you have no religion at all, because nowadays many of our Sierra Leonean people are choosing not to express themselves or identify themselves in any of the religious settings. When they say you're a Muslim, you say me not to Muslim. When they say you're a Christian, say me not to Christian. Why die when I just bury me no more? That's a separate conversation. You have a problem. If you are one of those people, you have a major problem. Major problem. Say when I just bury me no more, I want. Nobody should decide for you how to bury you. You should have your own identity and say what religion you belong to. That's a separate conversation. So, what I'm saying to you, I want those people. I also want to hear from children who fervently are in denial or don't think it's appropriate to be coming out as lesbian, gay, whatever they choose to be. Also, I want to have children on the panel who have come out openly to express themselves or identify themselves as gay, lesbian, whatever in the LGBTQIA community. I want to hear from you. I want us to have this conversation. I am not going to prolong this conversation because I want people to have the opportunities to watch this video, to share it. I know a lot of you will feel very uneasy about it, but yes, if you feel uneasy, then you need to ask yourself the question, how tolerant are you? To what level is your tolerance? Whether you have a child or you don't have a child or children, or whether you know of somebody who is, or you know of somebody's family, I want you to contact me when you see this video. Let's have this conversation in our Afro-Caribbean community, in our Sierra Leonean community, to be specific. Let's start to talk about this. Before I leave you guys, I want to bring something to light as well. The very heart of this community that we live in now the Sierra Leone community to be precise. We have women dating women. Yes, we have men dating men. I asked the question about young people, but we have adults, men dating adult men. We have adult women dating adult women. We have men who are married to women going out with another man. We have women who are married to men going out and dating another woman. We have women and men who are living two worlds apart, where they are in a heterosexual relationship, i.e. whether they're cohabiting or they're married, but yet they have extramarital affairs or relationships with the same sex. We have those people whom their partners, their husbands, their wives know of their situation and yet have created a platform for the husband to have that satisfaction and please themselves, and then the women also go out there and please themselves with their female partner or girlfriends, and the men go out with their boyfriends, and they live in the same home together in the eyes of pleasing man, that I am married to a woman or I am married to a man. I am in a heterosexual relationship. I am not going to express my personal views, because if I do, I am making this conversation a biased one. I am putting it out there. It is out there for all to see. We have women going into restaurants, clubs, and entertainment centers where they absolutely expressing their desires for each other openly, showing affection and being affectionate as well to each other in those platforms where they are. We have guys who are in those entertainment platforms equally doing the same and expressing love for another guy in those platforms. We are seeing it. So if we as adults are fulfilling our own needs, what happens when our children start coming to us and presenting themselves or identifying themselves of somebody who is liking, loving, caring, having an affection of somebody of the same sex, or want to be with both sexes? How will you react? Is my question. How will you react? So I want us to think about what I've said. My personal opinion, my personal views does not matter here. What matters is I am provoking a conversation deliberately, because I want us as Afro-Caribbean communities, I want us as Sierra Leoneans, to be precise, to start to have this conversation. It's not about throwing religion in front of it to build a fence. It's not about throwing culture in front of it to build a fence. It's not about throwing, I don't want to have this conversation at all. Are you crazy to have this conversation? It's not about saying that. It's not about saying, DJ Little, are you mad? You don't crazy. What do you try for do? It's not about that. That's all denial. It's about come to me, come forward, let's talk. Let's empower our brains. Let's understand as parents that ignorance is not going to benefit us, because the society that we've chosen to have our children, the society that we've chosen to raise our children, the society that we've chosen to educate our children is giving them all of this information, is presenting them with all of this information. So if you have a difference of opinion to what society is presenting to your child or children, then it's better you start to engage with your child or children now, eloquently. Don't be dismissive. Before I leave you guys, this is what I want us to think about carefully. When you're going to have your conversation with your child or children, or your loved one, your nephew, your niece, or whoever is going to come to you, speak without offending. Listen without defending. One more time. Speak without offending. Listen without defending. My number to contact me is there It's 07903 233 737. I am not afraid. Let's start to talk. 07903 233 737. Hit me up at DJL1TTLE412 at gmail.com. That's DJL1TTLE412 at gmail.com, or I'm available on all social media platforms as Diaspora Voices. That's at Diaspora Voices on Facebook and at DJL1TTLE on Facebook as well, and Twitter at DJL1TTLE, at TikTok at DJL1TTLE, Instagram at DJL1TTLE. Hit me, let's start to have a conversation. Stay blessed, stay true to yourself, stay safe, stay peace, love your children no matter what. Okay, peace. It's your boy DJ Little, the Moses for Salon ENT. I wait to hear from you.